Well, when it comes to Garda numbers, what is the current situation in the Banner County? Well, according to new figures from An Garda Síochána, Garda numbers in Clare are at their highest level in 2 years. Now, 2025 saw a net increase of 10 gardaí in the county, bringing the total to 298 members stationed right across Clare last December. That's an increase of 3.5% on the year before. But while overall numbers are up, the picture varies locally. Ennis has seen a slight drop, with numbers falling from 114 to 110, and in contrast, Shannon recorded a significant boost, rising from 58 to 71 members, and Crusheen also saw an increase. Kilrush, meanwhile, experienced a small decline. Nationally, 56 new officers joined the Roads Policing Unit last year, but just one of those has been assigned to County Clare. Well, for more on this, let's go to PJ Ryan, former Mayor of Clare and now the new chair of Clare's Local Community Safety Partnership, which replaced the old JPC model. Good morning to you, PJ.
Good morning, Sally-Ann, and good morning to your listeners.
Well, firstly, your response, I suppose, to those Garda figures. What's your thoughts? You were an elected representative for many years. It's been an ongoing issue.
Yes, I suppose really, Sally-Ann, any increase is welcome. You know, any good news is welcome. We've got a little bit of an increase, but I still think, that we need a lot more gardaí on the beat. At the moment, our county is expanding, our population is increasing. We've improved our tourism trade, which means there's a lot more people coming into the county. And you mentioned Shannon there. There's way more traffic going through Shannon. Now we're up to 2.5, 2.5, 2.6 million people. So that means that there's more gardaí needed there. You have a transit population there of 10,000 every day. And I think, the minister has to come up with more people on the beat. At the end of the day, it's very, very important that people feel safe. I know that the area where I have my business at the moment, based in 6 Mile Bridge, the population has doubled there over the last number of years. The Garda station is closed there generally every day because the Gardaí who are rostered there have to go to Shannon because of the amount of Gardaí that are needed in Shannon. And I genuinely think that it needs an awful lot more work to go into to increase the numbers.
Much was made, I suppose, of the amalgamation of Clare and Tipperary when it comes to, policing plans and how the force was deployed. I suppose a lot of the issue for people, the numbers mean nothing if you don't see visibility.
Absolutely. I'm not 100% sure whether that was a great move or not. There was a lot of talk about it at the time and how we were going to benefit from it, but I don't see a huge amount of benefit. I'm sure Superintendent John Ryan would like way more people in the county. He has a job every day trying to keep the county safe, and he can't do it without manpower. At the end of the day, it takes manpower, and we hear an awful lot nowadays about gardaí on the street and on the beat and all that, and it's fine, and it was an old type of policing, but at the moment, there's much point in having gardaí walking down the street, and a guy pulls up in a 200 horsepower car, and he does damage or robs a shop or something like that, he's gone in a flash, you need a presence of gardaí, certainly, but you also need the equipment to go with it, that they can keep up with the modern things that are happening there.
Let's bring you some response from our texters here this morning, and text and WhatsApp 086 1800 964, PJ. This one in from Magella in Tulla. She says, with the recent spate of break-ins and car thefts across East Clare, it's clear we need more Garda visibility throughout the county. However, we also need tougher penalties for minors in particular. As it stands, they get a slap on the wrist and are sent home, and parents must be held accountable if the system is not prepared to manage the minors.
Well, I suppose I'd answer that, Sally-Ann, by saying it starts with education. We need the education in the schools, that a lot of these young people need to be better educated, right from wrong, and that it's not right to interfere with other people's property, and sometimes a lot of these young people, they gain nothing from it, they just do it for kicks, which is a major problem, and I think that needs to be looked into, but I go back to the education education side of it, it is very important that young people are educated, like, you know, and that they are directed in the right way. And of course, parents have, you know, a certain amount of responsibility too. Like, you know, I remember, I suppose, in my younger days, like, you know, if we weren't back home by 10:30 or 11 o'clock, like, there was a major problem, like, you know. Nowadays, I happen to come through the streets, like, and I see children around the street. Well, when I say children, people of 13, 14 years of age around the street, like, at 12:30 and 1 a.m. in the morning, like, you know, that's definitely not right. Children out and around the streets at that hour of the night, like, are going to get into trouble, like, you know.
But are we doing enough, PJ, from a community perspective? And I suppose this will feed back to you as chairperson at Clare's local community safety partnership, looking at these kind of issues. Are we doing enough, I suppose, to provide places where young people can go? A lot of those services were cut when figures got tight.
Well, I suppose the partnership is in its infancy at the moment. Like, I've only been chair of it now for about 10 days or that way, like, you know. But, like, the way it's supposed to work anyway is, like, you know, that we will be collecting information from the community, like, and passing it on to the relevant bodies such as the Gardaí, the HSE, TUSLA, all that, like the farmers, you know, and the travelling community. All those people, like, are going to be in it, and, you know, we're going to be a county-wide partnership. So I think, you know, that the gathering of that information is certainly going to help, like, and I suppose, you know, I hear an awful lot these days about the set-up of the partnership and the fact, like, that the media won't be allowed into the meetings. Like, I think that possibly, you know, has an advantage and will help, like, because a lot of people, you know, who may not want to talk about things, you know, when the media are there, like, there might be a better chance, like, that they might speak out a bit better, like, or a bit more, like, about what's happening in their area. Like,
well,
you probably don't want to hear that, Sally-Ann. Like,
I'll tell you, the other argument I heard in favour of that in another county was that previously you had elected representatives who were part of the former JPCs and were accused of grandstanding on issues when they knew the media were attending.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, I could be accused of that myself now. Like, I spent a long number of years as a public representative myself, so I'd be well conversed with that, like, you know. But at the end of the day, like, if there's benefit, like, I think that's what, you know, the people want, like, you know. And I wouldn't like to, you know, have any area claimed as a bad area. Like, as I say, my business is in 6 Mile Bridge, like, and I'd be well acquainted, like, with Cratloe, Newmarket and Fergus, Shannon, Meelick, all those areas. And I would know, you know, that there's probably little things that happen in them, like, but there's still good areas, like, and Clare is a good county. I wouldn't like to give the image, like, you know, that it's a troublesome county or anything like that. It's no better or no worse than any other county, like, and where you have younger people and an increase in population, like, and our population is just rocketing at the moment, like, you know, and there are quite a lot of young people around the roads, like, you know, that have nothing to do. Like, I think, you know, in fairness, the GA is a great organisation, like, you know, because they keep people, you know, young people off the street, like, and so do the soccer clubs and the rugby clubs and the boxing clubs and all those things, youth organisations and all that, like, they do fantastic work, like, you know, but it's just trying to get young people into it. And as I say, you know, they also need the education, like, you know, that they have to know right from wrong. They get that from their parents, and they also should get it from where they're educated.
You mentioned previously, PJ, you know, that you had noticed that some of the smaller rural stations are not open as much as you'd like to see because their members that are assigned there have to supplement the bigger districts such as Shannon, such as Ennis, etc. As chairperson of Clare's local community safety partnership, obviously we know there's a representative from An Garda Síochána on that partnership. Is that something you would be looking at him to assess, the deployment of those resources when it comes to the smaller rural stations within the county?
Certainly, you know, I think, you know, that like, there was a huge amount of rural stations closed down there back a few years ago, like, you know, they came up with the model, like, you know, that I suppose a word that's used an awful lot in the health system, a centre of excellence, like, was going to be provided, like, in places like Shannon and Melton, Malbay and Kilrush and places like that, you know. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, like, the Gardaí in Ireland are a community-based force. That was their foundation, like, and I think that we should go back to that again, like, you know. I remember at one stage there back a few years ago, Shannon is quite close to me, and there was maybe 50 or 60 gardaí there, like, none of them lived in the area, like, you know. When I was younger, like, all the gardaí lived in the area, like, they all attended local functions, and they all, you know, met up with one another there.
But the flip side of that is, PJ, you have a lot of gardaí from rural areas who are stuck in Dublin and can't get back down. They can't get the transfers.
Yeah, that is the problem, all right, like, you know. But like, the thing about it is, as you know, in this country at the moment, everything is focused towards the capital, which is a major problem, like, you know. All the focus is on the capital, like, and I think, you know, we need to rectify that, like, and we've been told over the years, several governments are saying, you know, they'd move out this and move out this organisation, and like, it never happens, like, you know. We see what happened the other day, and of course a bugbear of mine, like, is Shannon Airport, like, you see what happened the other day, like, the cap was increased in Dublin, like, that's going to have a detriment effect on Cork and Shannon and Knock, like, and a lot of the smaller airports, like, you know. I think, you know, that governments need to be more focused and moving out into rural areas, like, and, you know, helping those areas by at the very least, you know, having all the services available, like we done away with quite a lot of the services there. Post offices, Garda stations, closed down hospitals, as we know, like, they all created problems. None of them were a success, and like, that's coming to the fore now with the Gardaí, like, you know, and it'll eventually come to the fore with post offices as well, like, you know. We've seen the big major problems it's created in hospitals, like, you know. So, like, I genuinely believe, like, that method, like, was not a success, like, and we need to reverse it, like. And I would like to see, you know, more presence, like, as I say, like, my business is in 6 Mile Bridge, and you know, the Garda station is closed there every day, you know. It's rarely open, like, and there are 4 Gardaí there, like, but they're all deployed in Shannon because of the amount of people that's passing through Shannon. The airport has to be supported, and as I said, like, there's over 10,000 people living in Shannon. You have a transit population of 10,000 there every day, plus the amount of passengers are passing through the area. So there's a huge Garda force needed there, like, you know. And the same in the county town, like, there's quite a lot of tourist trade now coming out of Ennis, like, you know. So, like, you have little motoring accidents, and you have bits and pieces, and you know, the public need to be protected. Like, if somebody unfortunately leaves their bag in the car, like, they have a lapse of mind and they leave their bag in the car and somebody breaks into, well, the only people that can look after the Gardaí, like, you know.
OK, we'll leave it there for the moment. PJ Ryan, who is the new chair of Clare's local community safety partnership, which has replaced the former JPCs.